Well, it's another early morning walk to the supermarket. Hopefully I'll have as much luck as I did previous time. One does wonder when this is going to finally even out and the supply will be adequate for things like toilet paper to supermarkets. You'd think eventually it should level out and this madness will be finished, but at the moment there seems to be no end and things just seem to be getting worse. And a classic example of that is watching the football last night. The first round of the AFL was on and it was Richmond, my team, playing Carlton, and Richmond won. That was all fine, they played well, but the thing that was missing is people like you and me, the crowd. Just no reference to it. And what I thought was really pathetic is that the Channel 7 coverage made no attempt to make up for that lack of atmosphere, because they're just empty stands. It was the worst possible venue to start it off at too. The MCG, just not one fan was in attendance. Just people who were employed by the clubs or the AFL. There were a few people there. There were probably a few hundred people because there were support staff and there were the teams. But there were just no fans. And I was just thinking, I thought that Channel 7 did an abysmal job of coverage, and that they didn't even adapt their coverage to take that into account and say have cameras set up where, say, the cheer squads were. Presumably the cheer squads are gathering, whether they're advised to or not. I'm sure they're probably gathered together watching the match. So why in the hell don't we have a camera there and getting their reactions to what's happening? So at least it gives you some reference to what the average person feels about the match. But there was none of that. Obviously Channel 7 believe that their opinions are superior to the average person, and just the professional, in inverted commas, commentators are the people that know everything, and that's the only voice that we should hear. Heaven forbid the average person gets a look in Channel 7's coverage. So they made absolutely no adaptation to the circumstances, no change at all to their normal format, and I thought that was pathetic. You just wonder, is there creative bone in any of these people's body? They can't think, maybe, well, there's going to be no one in the stands. Can we somehow drum up some sort of atmosphere by putting cameras where fanatical supporters are, in their homes, or a gathering of, say, cheer squads or whatever? And it begs the other question too, is would it really hurt to allow, say, cheer squads to attend the matches? I know that groups are discouraged because obviously it's a greater chance of spreading the contagion, but I just wonder whether we're really going over the top here, because the actual danger, the group's in danger of people like myself. I'm 65 and I've got respiratory issues. Not people who are young. The kids could go and watch the matches. Kids are encouraged to go to school, so why the hell can't they go to the football? Just kids, and like make it with a parental, some sort of well, there'd be some sort of people to look after the kids, obviously some adults around, but what I'm saying, they're going to be there anyway. I just think it's just ludicrous that no one can attend these matches. I think the AFL would be wise to encourage kids to attend the match free of charge, because they are in the lowest risk group when it comes to this contagion. If they're going to be allowed to go to school, then I don't see why they can't go to a football match. I just don't see, it doesn't make sense to me. And a lot of this doesn't make sense to me, what's happening. I actually agree with the idea of minimising contact between people. It's not pleasant, but it's a smart move. We don't want the virus to explode like it has in Italy, for instance. That's the last thing we want. But seriously, I just wonder. But as I say, the Channel 7, I've always thought it's a fairly mediocre coverage. I'm sure that if Eddie Maguire had the rights, as they did in the past. They would have come up with a totally new format to take into account changed circumstances. But whether it's just laziness or lack of vision on the part of the Channel 7 team, I don't know. They're not a particular, I don't hold them in high regard, that's for sure. So anyway, so it's was a very disappointing coverage. It could have been a lot better. They could have tried some innovations given the circumstances, but they decided to just be lazy and just stick to the same crappy formula they've got. I just thought that was disappointing. But anyway, hopefully they'll get a bit of flack in the media, and there'll be a bit of pressure put on Channel 7 to maybe rethink what they're doing and try to get some input from average people when the matches are on. I mean, I just don't like the way AFL has been sanitised anyway. You know, to the extent that the AFL had officials going through who are basically probably security guys with different uniforms going around the crowd telling people what they can and can't say at the matches. I mean, it's just ridiculous. 1984 stuff. Very scary. But that didn't go down well, thank God. And I haven't heard a repeat of that, so I think that with the kibosh was put on that, so that was good. Anyway, hopefully this will be a productive trip to the supermarket today. A little bit of light coming through now. It's not even 6 o'clock. I'm making an earlier start today. It's actually, I don't know what time it would be. Let's have a look. It's still 7 minutes to 6, so yeah, plenty of time. I'll be at the door just when they're opening, I'd say. So we'll see. Yeah, well, I couldn't sleep anyway. I sort of get up pretty early anyway, so it doesn't worry me. Got here at 5:57, got a little earlier. Sun is slowly rising. The refuse collectors are out in force in noisy vehicles. And there's bugger all traffic. And there's one other person waiting out here for the doors to open, so it's not exactly a crowd here, unlike what you see at the in Melbourne and Sydney, where you get lines. Oh, there was one photo I couldn't believe. I think it was actually a Twitter feed. It was actually just a succession of shopping trolleys that went right round the corner. It seemed like they went for about half a kilometre. It's just ridiculous just to get to this one Woolworths. It's crazy. But yep, just me and this guy here, and that's it. Just us two waiting to get in, so it's not a big deal. Well, it's about 6:05 and they still haven't opened the doors, so this could be a ploy by the supermarkets. If they don't get deliveries overnight, they just decide not to open. Save the hassles. So just two of us waiting, that's all. No one else here, so yeah, absolutely no sign of any staff. Apparently they took a few minutes past 6 to open yesterday, but it must be about 5 past now. It's getting pretty slack. 10 past 6, and apparently, well, the first sign of life is there. Oh God! Glad they finally showed up. Yep, it's on Queensland time today. Got the guys coming down the main door. He's going somewhere else. Well, it's 6:15 and we're still waiting for the doors to be open. Unbelievable. The guy wandered up there. There's a guy in there who was apparently opening doors, and he just decided not to do our door. So, I don't know what's going on. It's just ridiculous. Picked the wrong day to turn up early, didn't I? So, this is quite frustrating, to say the least. Oh well, that's an absolute bust. It's got a sign saying pedestrian access down there at the car park, but there doesn't seem to be any other entrance. So you can go up the actual driveway, I guess. But I'm not that desperate. I'll go another day. This is just absurd. That the old codger was waiting around the front with me. He just wandered past. Didn't seem to want to have it say anything to me. He just wandered up to where the pedestrian access was down here. So I don't know, hopefully he might get the entrance up there. I don't know what they're playing up there. It's just ridiculous. I'm going to send a rather stern email to Cairns Central, and it's just absurd. I mean, things are hard enough as it is without bloody closing the front door and not opening it at the advertised time. I mean, that is just crazy. But I think we're just going to get used to crazy. It's just going to be the new normal in Australia. So unfortunately, yep, resembling more like Soviet Russia every day. This is insane. Oh, at least we've still got the view here. They haven't taken that away from us. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you think there's anything there of use to you, or entertainment or whatever. And either do that or give me a thumbs up, or if you're feeling really energetic, do both. That'd be great. But please don't ignore me. That's the worst thing you can do on YouTube, is be ignored.